In late April 2025, a very difficult time began between India and Pakistan. These two countries are neighbors in South Asia. Before this time, things seemed a little better between them for some months. But this quiet time ended suddenly and became very dangerous. The problem started because of a bad attack on April 22nd. This attack happened in the region of Kashmir. Kashmir is a beautiful mountain area, but India and Pakistan have argued about who should control it for many years. The attack was in a place called Basaran Valley, near a town called Pahulgam. Men with guns came and shot at groups of tourists who were visiting the pretty valley. The attack was very sad and shocked many people. 26 people died in the shooting. Most of the people killed were tourists from India visiting Kashmir. It was the worst attack on normal people, not soldiers, in this area for more than 20 years. This terrible event quickly made the relationship between India and Pakistan much worse. India quickly said that Pakistan was responsible for the attack. Indian leaders believed that Pakistan helped the men who did the shooting. Because of this, India took strong actions against Pakistan to show its anger. For example, India stopped working on an old, very important agreement. This agreement was called the Indus Waters Treaty. It helped share water from the big Indus River system between the two countries. Stopping work on the water agreement was a very big step. This agreement helped share river water fairly for many years, even during other difficult times between the countries. India also took other steps against Pakistan. Pakistan strongly said that it was not involved in the attack in Kashmir. Pakistan's leaders said India's words were not true, and that India was blaming Pakistan unfairly. They said India's actions were wrong. Pakistan also acted back against India. They took similar steps to India, showing that Pakistan was also angry and would stand strong. This argument between India and Pakistan became very serious very quickly. It is important to remember that both countries have nuclear weapons. These weapons are extremely powerful and very dangerous. When countries with nuclear weapons argue strongly like this, the whole world pays attention and worries. Many people were worried that the fighting could become worse, maybe even a war. It was a very dangerous situation for South Asia. This story explains what happened during this difficult time. We will look closely at the attack in Kashmir that started the problem. We will learn about the strong actions India took. We will also learn about how Pakistan reacted. This story helps to understand why this problem started and why it became so dangerous for everyone. Understanding this event is important because these old problems can cause trouble again in the future. 2. A bad day in Kashmir. April 22nd, 2025 was a very sad day. It happened in the Basaran Valley, a beautiful place near Pahulgam town in Kashmir. Tourists often go there to see the pretty hills. On this day, gunmen came to the valley. They started shooting at the tourists. Some people who saw it said the gunmen chose the men in the groups. They said the gunmen asked people questions before shooting them. The attack was very sudden and bad. 26 people died. Most of the dead people were tourists from India who came to enjoy the area. One person who died was from Nepal. This attack was the worst on normal people, called civilians in Kashmir, for more than 20 years. Soon after, a group called the Resistance Front, or TRF, said they did the attack. They put messages on the internet. The group said it did not like people from outside Kashmir coming to live there. But the group did not show any proof that they did it. India quickly said that TRF was a bad group helped by Pakistan. Indian leaders believed Pakistan gave TRF money and support. Just 2 days after the attack, the police in Jammu and Kashmir showed pictures of 3 men. The police said these men did the attack. They also said that 2 of these men were from Pakistan. This made India feel sure that Pakistan was involved. But Pakistan said this was not true. The leader of Pakistan, Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, strongly denied that his country helped the attackers. Pakistan said India's words were wrong and had no proof. Pakistan offered to help with an investigation if it was fair and clear. The attack made people living in Kashmir very scared and sad. It was unusual for attackers to shoot tourists. Usually attacks were on soldiers or police. People in Kashmir showed they did not like the attack. Some people protested in the streets. They held lights to remember the people who died. Business owners worried too. The attack happened when many tourists usually visit. They feared that fewer people would come to Kashmir. Now this was bad for jobs and money in the area. Everyone felt worried about what would happen next. 3 old problems between neighbors. The problems between India and Pakistan are not new. They started a very long time ago. The main reason for their arguments is a place called Kashmir. This trouble began in 1947. That year, British India was divided into 2 countries, India and Pakistan. The leader of the state of Jammu and Kashmir decided to join India. Pakistan did not agree with this. This led to the first war between the 2 new countries over Kashmir. After the first war, Kashmir was divided. There is a borderline called the Line of Control, or LOC. India controls one part, and Pakistan controls the other part. But both India and Pakistan say that all of Kashmir belongs to them. Because of this disagreement, the area near the LOC is full of soldiers from both countries. It is one of the places with the most soldiers in the world. India and Pakistan fought more wars over Kashmir after 1947. For example, in 1965 and 1971, inside the part of Kashmir that India controls, there has been fighting for many years. This fighting started in the late 1980s. Some groups started fighting against Indian rule. India and Pakistan see this fighting differently. India says that Pakistan helps the groups who are fighting. India calls this help terrorism from across the border. Pakistan says it does not directly help the fighters. Pakistan says it supports the people of Kashmir who want freedom. Many people have died in this fighting over many years. Soldiers, fighters, and ordinary people. There have been other very serious problems between India and Pakistan because of Kashmir. In 1999, soldiers crossed the LOC in Kargil, leading to a big fight called the Kargil War. In 2019, a bad attack in Pulwama killed many Indian police officers. After the Pulwama attack, India sent planes to attack inside Pakistan. Pakistan also sent its planes, and there was a fight in the air. Also in 2019, the Indian government made a big change. It removed the special rights that Jammu and Kashmir had. India wanted to make Kashmir more like other parts of India. Pakistan strongly disagreed with this change. Before the bad attack on tourists in April 2025, things had become a little calmer. In 2021, India and Pakistan agreed to stop shooting across the LOC. This agreement mostly worked for some time, but the attack showed that the peace was not strong. The old problems over Kashmir mean that dangerous situations can start very quickly. 4. India's strong actions. India reacted very strongly after the deadly attack in Kashmir. India blamed Pakistan for helping the group that attacked the tourists. Indian leaders like Prime Minister Narendra Modi promised to find and punish everyone involved. They said they would follow those responsible to the ends of the earth. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh also promised strong action against the attackers and the people who planned it. India took many steps against Pakistan. It told several Pakistani officials working in India to leave the country. India also called back many of its own officials from its office in Pakistan. The number of staff allowed in each country's main office was cut down sharply from 55 people to only 30. India stopped giving visas to all Pakistani citizens. Visas are special papers needed to enter a country. Any Pakistanis already in India were told they had to leave soon. India also warned its own citizens not to travel to Pakistan. The main border crossing for people and goods on land, the Attari-Wagah border, was closed by India. This stopped almost all road travel and trade between the two countries. India took a very serious step about river water. It stopped taking part in the Indus Waters Treaty. This is a very old and important agreement from 1960. It decides how India and Pakistan share water from the Indus River system. This river water is vital for farming in Pakistan. Stopping work on this treaty was a big shock because it had lasted through past wars and problems. Inside Kashmir, the Indian Army started large search operations. They used helicopters and closed off areas to look for the attackers. There were gunfights. An Indian soldier and some suspected attackers were killed in these operations. A known commander named Altaf Lai was also killed. The army also destroyed the family homes of some people they believed were attackers. Reports said at least 9 houses were destroyed. This action caused anger. Some people, including local leaders and rights groups, said it was unfair, collective punishment for families who might be innocent. India also showed its military power. The Indian Navy sent its large aircraft carrier ship, INS Vikrant, with fighter jets into the Arabian Sea. Another Navy ship, INS Surat, successfully tested a missile. The Indian Air Force flew its planes near the line of control, the border in Kashmir. The Army Chief, General Endra Dwi, visited Kashmir to see the Army's readiness. These actions showed India was very serious. The government felt strong pressure from people in India to act tough after the attack. Being strong on security was important for the government's image. 5. Pakistan says no and acts back. Pakistan strongly said it did not do the terrible attack in Pahalgam. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif said India's claims were baseless, meaning they had no good reason. Pakistan's government said it had nothing to do with the killings. Pakistan even offered to help with a fair investigation to find the truth if it was done by a group not connected to India or Pakistan. Pakistan thought India's actions were not fair and were very wrong. The National Security Committee met and said India's steps were aggressive. They felt India was blaming Pakistan without proof just because of politics. Pakistan acted back against India's diplomatic moves. Like India, Pakistan told some Indian diplomats in Islamabad to leave the country. It also made the number of workers at the Indian office smaller. From May 1st, only 30 people could work there. Pakistan also stopped giving visas to people from India. This made it very hard for Indians to travel to Pakistan. Pakistan made a very big warning about another important old agreement. It threatened to stop following the similar agreement from 1972. This agreement helped set rules for the line of control border and for peace talks. Threatening this agreement showed how serious the problems were becoming between the two countries. Pakistan took other strong steps. It stopped all trade with India. This meant no buying or selling goods between the countries, even if the goods passed through another country first. Pakistan also closed its sky to all Indian planes. Indian airlines could not fly over Pakistan. This made flights longer and cost more money for India. Leaders in Pakistan gave strong warnings about fighting. Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar said if India used its army, Pakistan would fight back in the same way. Defense Minister Khawaja Aif even said publicly he thought India was going to attack very soon, maybe the next day. They wanted India to know Pakistan was ready to defend itself. Pakistan's army got ready for possible trouble along the border. Soldiers moved to areas near the line of control. Reports mentioned they moved heavy weapons like big guns to some places. This showed Pakistan was preparing for fighting. The Pakistan Rangers also caught one Indian soldier who crossed the border near Faroes, likely by mistake. Talks started to free him, but this made the situation near the border even more tense. 6. Trouble on the borderline. Their agreement to stop shooting made in 2021 ended soon after the attack. Around April 24th, soldiers from India and Pakistan started shooting at each other again. This happened across the Line of Control (LOC). The LOC is the line that separates the parts of Kashmir controlled by India and Pakistan. It is not an official border, but it acts like one. The shooting happened for several nights in a row. It was not just in one place. Gunfire was heard in different areas. Along the long LOC, soldiers used small guns first, but later reports said they used bigger weapons too. Pakistan reportedly moved large guns called artillery to the border, near places like the Lipa Valley. Indian soldiers fired back when they were shot at. This broke the ceasefire agreement completely. There was also fighting inside the part of Kashmir controlled by India. Indian soldiers looked for the men who attacked the tourists in Pahalgam. They searched villages and forests. During these searches, there were gunfights between soldiers and suspected fighters. On April 25th, one Indian soldier was killed in a fight in the Adhampur area. The two men who the army believed were fighters also died in that fight. The next day, April 26th, another Indian soldier was killed during fighting in the same area. Two more suspected fighters died then too. The situation along the borderline was very tense everywhere. Near Faroes, on the main border between India and Pakistan in Punjab, Pakistani soldiers captured an Indian soldier. This Indian soldier belonged to the Border Security Force, BSF. Reports said the soldier crossed the border by mistake. Officials from the BSF and the Pakistan Rangers started talking to arrange his return. This capture showed how easy it was for problems to happen when tensions were high. People who lived in towns and villages near the LOC were very frightened. They heard the sounds of guns firing at night. They worried that a bigger war could start very soon. Some people got their old underground shelters called bunkers ready. They did this in case the fighting got worse. A school teacher living near the LOC told reporters that people felt scared and believed that anything bad could happen at any moment. Both the Indian Army and the Pakistan Army were on high alert. This means all soldiers were ready for more trouble or a bigger fight. Both sides had moved soldiers and weapons close to the borderline. This dangerous situation made many people worry. A small mistake or an accident could easily cause a much larger conflict between the two countries. The risk of a bigger war seemed very real. 7 other countries look on. The problems between India and Pakistan grew very serious after the attack in Kashmir. Other countries around the world started to watch what was happening. They were worried because both India and Pakistan are neighbors with nuclear weapons, which are very dangerous. The United Nations UN is a large group of countries that tries to keep peace in the world. The UN spoke about the India-Pakistan situation. Officials asked both countries to show maximum restraint. This means they asked them to be very careful and not make the problems worse. The UN wanted the leaders to stop fighting and start talking to find a peaceful solution. The United States-US watched the situation very closely. It was an important time because a top American leader, Vice President J.D. Vance, was visiting India just when the attack happened. However, the U.S. government did not say many strong things in public at the beginning. The U.S. has a good relationship with India, but it also does not want a big war involving Pakistan. So it acted carefully. India wanted the world to understand why it was angry and taking strong actions. The Indian government talked to leaders in other countries. For example, India's foreign minister spoke with the foreign minister of the United Kingdom, UK. India also held meetings for diplomats from more than 100 countries in New Delhi. In these meetings, India shared information or intelligence that it said showed Pakistan helped the attackers. Prime Minister Modi stated that the world stood with India against terrorism. At this time, leaders in many powerful countries seemed very busy with other world problems. There were conflicts and difficult situations happening in other places. Because world leaders were focused elsewhere, they did not give as much attention to the growing danger between India and Pakistan. This lack of strong attention meant there was less international pressure on India and Pakistan to stop. Often, when big countries push hard for peace, it can help calm things down. But this time, the outside push was not very strong. This might have allowed the situation to become more dangerous, without outside help to stop it. The crisis also created strong feelings among Indian and Pakistani people living far away in other countries. These communities often care deeply about events in their home countries. In big cities like London, groups of Indians and Pakistanis organized protests. They wanted to show their support for their side or express anger about the situation. Sometimes these protests became tense, showing how the conflict affected people everywhere. 8. What could happen now? The problems between India and Pakistan in April 2025 created a very dangerous time. The situation is now very risky for both countries. Stopping important agreements makes things much worse. India stopped working on the Indus Waters Treaty. This agreement was about sharing river water. It had worked for many years, even during other bad times. Pakistan talked about stopping the Simla Agreement. This agreement is important for the borderline, the line of control, LOC. When countries stop following these kinds of rules, it is easier for big problems to start. The fighting on the border between soldiers also increased the risk. Small fights could easily become bigger fights, maybe even a war. Nobody wants a war, especially when both countries have nuclear weapons. Experts believe leaders in both India and Pakistan felt pressure to look strong. Politics inside each country made it hard to choose peace. They wanted to show their people they were tough. This difficult situation is very bad for peace in South Asia. It is also terrible for the people living in Kashmir. Their lives became harder and more dangerous. The attack hurt tourism, which is important for jobs in Kashmir. The fighting and fear damaged hopes for better times in the region. Many people hoped things were slowly getting better, but this crisis stopped that hope. Now it is not clear what will happen next. Will things calm down, or will they get more dangerous? The old problems between India and Pakistan, especially about Kashmir, are still not solved. These problems have caused trouble for a very long time. Until these big problems are fixed, the risk of more fighting stays high. The future looks uncertain. What do you think needs to happen for India and Pakistan to find lasting peace?